How are you doing, Zae?
Hey, I would be lying if I said I haven't had better mornings. I wasn't planning on being in this hotel today, but it is what it is. It's still been a blessing, this whole opportunity.
By a vote of 5 to 9, Zae, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
What's going through your head right now? Are you surprised to be the first one out?
Honestly, I think in this game, a lot of times, if they view you as a threat and you're on the block, especially early on in the game, you get evicted. That's just how it rolls. I didn't expect to be evicted. I thought the chances were, under 50%, but I didn't go out there and execute the challenges, and I didn't rally the votes that I thought I had. So that's just how that's how it works.
So you said everyone viewed you as a threat, but you made a pretty big target out of somebody else in the house.
You just told me you're gunning for me. I'd be careful coming for the queen. You will get beheaded.
Do you think it was a mistake that the house guests are sticking by Rachel instead of rallying behind you?
I think 100% it's a mistake. Everyone views her as a threat, and that's why it was almost like a lot of people in the house had a mentality of you can't beat her, join her, and they were scared to even try and beat her. And so I feel like, there were only very few house guests in there that were willing to, stand up and try and take her out. And I'm not even sure why so many people were scared of her in the first place. And so, I did want to make that stand. I did try and take the pressure off of me and make her look like she was a bigger threat than I was. That way, hopefully they wouldn't vote me out that week. And they kind of used me to take her out.
You went toe-to-toe with Rachel. She did warn you. I'd be careful coming for the queen. You will get beheaded. Are you beheaded right now, Zae?
I got beheaded. I guess she won. I guess she beheaded me, and I messed with the queen. So, that's just what happens sometimes. I think it was perfect time for her to say that, the night before eviction night, because, I was already on the block. So it was, it was a good strategy on her end. But I do think that if I would have stayed through that week, that I would have been able to put up a good fight and potentially take her out of the game.
We did hear you reference going to use ChatGPT a lot to study the Big Brother history. Were you familiar with Rachel's game at all before going into the Big Brother house?
Not at all. I didn't know who she was. And maybe that's why I, was one of the only ones in the house that wasn't like a huge fan and wanted to work with her, because she was Rachel Reilly. I had never heard of her before. And so, it meant nothing to me. To me, she was just another house guest. But I did use ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT, and I did use it a lot to research stuff in the game. And I think her name did pop up a couple times on there when I would research stuff. Her name sounded familiar, but I didn't know. It was cool to put a face with the name.
Well, Zach, we did see, was really emotional when you were on your way out the door. Tell us a little bit more about that bromance.
That is the ultimate bromance. I miss Zach already. I love that guy so much. It was like we hit it off day, not 10 seconds into being in the house. As soon as we were chatting, we hit it off. We're super, super similar. He's somebody that I hope to see very frequently after he gets out of the game, and I hope he does really well in the game.
Let's talk a little bit more about some other house guests. Ashley had quite the first week in the Big Brother house. You gotta tell us a little bit more about Showergate.
That is so funny, dog.
Ashley decides to shower at her own leisure.
Girl, he just got that room, and you're breaking it in? Girl, you're not the HOH. Hello, knock knock, is anyone home?
Was she really in that shower for 2 hours, or are we seeing something that didn't really happen?
I'm pretty sure, nobody saw her except for Vince for those 2 hours. So I'm pretty sure she was up there for 2 hours showering. It wasn't a great look day one. She tried to kind of say that she was talking to him most of the time, but I'm pretty sure she was in that shower for a long time. And, seeing the way she showered most days, she takes a long time to get ready. So I don't think anyone was really surprised by that. And I think it did make her, because at that point in the game, week one, any little thing you do can easily make you a target, because, there's not that many reasons to evict somebody. And so I do think that made her target week one, but then she obviously executed the veto and got herself off the block like she knows she needed to do.
I'm gonna tell you something. We did see Julie Chen-Moonves do an interview, and she did say that Ashley was only in that shower for about 30 minutes, and the rest of the time was talking with you.
Wow, so I was wrong. I stand corrected. Look at that. 30 minutes, in my opinion, is still a pretty long shower. I'm not gonna lie, but look at that. She was right. She was talking most of the time. So Showergate debunked, I guess.
Showergate debunked.
Showergate debunked.
Showergate. Listen, as you know, Big Brother is always watching. The live feeds did catch you saying the R word. You caught yourself very quickly in correcting yourself. You immediately recognized your mistake in the moment. What do you have to say to the viewers who might have taken some offense to that?
Yeah, obviously that was never my intention, you know. I never want to offend anybody, so I apologize to anyone that was offended by my words. And, you know, hopefully people don't look at me as less because of that, because, you know, it is something that I try to catch myself and move on from as soon as I said it. But I do apologize.
Let's get into some game right now.
Okay. I love game.
Zae, who do you think is playing the best game in that house right now?
I think it's kind of still a little bit too early to tell. I do think that, you know, in this game, laying low is huge because if you make yourself a target early on, people are gunning for you. So you're an easy option. And so I want to say, and, you know, even just being someone who's physically fit, like Zach, is making himself a target just by looking the way he does. And so, you know, I was thinking about it last night. I was like, who do I think is going to make a long run in this game? And the two names that I was thinking of, and I could be way off, but I think Morgan will make a long run. She's unsuspecting, but she's really smart. And she has a good social game. She knows what she's doing in there, I think. I also think Vince will make a good run. He's very calculated. He's very smart. He's kind of laying low a little bit, but I think he knows when to make moves.
Something you might not know, Morgan is a professional gamer, so I think we're all excited to see how she works that in the Big Brother.
Whoa! I did not know that. I wish you would have told us that. That's freaking cool.
Why would she tell you that?
Because it would have been awesome to know.
And you think it would have put a target on her back?
Probably, but it still would have been cool to know.
All right, who do you think is playing the worst game in the house?
I think the next couple on the chopping block, I think it could be Keanu. He kind of stirred the pot a little bit. I love the guy, but he stirred the pot a little bit one morning, and I think he has a big target on his back, and people were wanting him out. Like, people were saying that they didn't want me to stay in partly because they knew I wouldn't put Keanu up next week. And so I think he might be go pretty soon. I think Kelly, she was kind of playing a lot of the game, like kind of trying to play really hard really early. And so I think that as soon as people get an easy option, I think she'll be back up on the block as well. Those are the two that I would say are going to go pretty soon. But again, I think it's still a little bit too early to tell because anything can happen, you know, depending on who wins this next HOH.
How far do you think Rachel will end up going in the game?
I have no idea because I think that people are scared to take shots at her. I wasn't, but I think that, you know, if people view her as a threat, if she's up on the block, I think she goes home. But the thing is, she's very convincing. She knows how to play this game. And so she might do a good job keeping herself off the block. If people are scared to take a shot at her, she scares them into, you know, thinking that they're going to jeopardize their game by putting her up. And so I'm not exactly sure. I want to say she hopefully, you know, doesn't last too long. Because she was one of the ones obviously that I was gunning for. And so I don't want her to like go and win the season after, you know, getting me out week one. But I like to say, I mean, I could see either way happening. You know, I could see her because she has Amy, which is basically second vote for her right now. Amy's not going to do. She was the one campaigning for Amy. Amy was more than Amy was campaigning for herself. And so she basically has 2 votes right now. And so if she uses that to her advantage, I could see her making her run to top 5.
Top 5. Do you think a jury of all new players would be willing to give Rachel $750,000, a second Big Brother win?
You know, honestly, I think the jury's I think everyone in that house is super fair. I think if she's on the block and she genuinely played the best game, I think they would give it to her. But I think that if they feel like someone else played the better game, I think genuinely they're going to go off with who played the better game, that jury. And so I like to think that it just kind of depends on how she plays this game, how she, you know, leverages what she can leverage and how she makes it there, if she does.
You have joined a very unique club of first boots in the Big Brother pantheon. 17th house guest.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm a little better than all the 16th placers out there. I got 17th place. So a little bit, you know, I'm a little unique in that.
A little unique in that. You spent a good amount of time, a solid week in the Big Brother house. Do you feel like there's anything that you've learned about yourself?
100%. You know, I think that I think I learned a lot in general. You know, everyone was teaching me different things. Everyone has a very different perspective of life. But I do think I learned a lot about myself. You know, I learned a lot about the ways that I'm different from, you know, other people. I learned, I'm trying to think of good examples of things that I've learned about myself. I mean, I think I learned how I interact with people, how I strategize, how I think, how I, you know, try and persuade. A lot of those different things. I learned a lot of that about myself in just a short amount of time.
Well, since we are still actively in the game of Big Brother, I want to know who you're rooting for to win the next HOH.
I mean, I would love to see Zach take it. I mean, he's my boy. Like, I would love to see Zach take it. I don't want them to just gun for him because, you know, he's a handsome, strong guy. And so I would love to see him in power because I feel like what he does is probably pretty similar to what I would do. And so maybe I'll play kind of vicariously through watching him.
Well, we do know who the next HOH is.
Really? Are you allowed to tell me or?
I can tell you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's Jimmy.
Wow, Jimmy, that's awesome. Good for him. It's a good thing he got, because if I would have been HOH, I probably would have put him up. So that's good for him that I probably got out.
Who do you think is probably going to follow you next as the 16th person evicted?
I think it depends on who's up there. Like, because, you know, obviously with the Blockbuster challenge, you never know who's going to be on the block at the come eviction night. I think if Kelly's up there, she goes. I think that Jimmy could put up, you know, more people on my side. He could put up, I could see, if Zach's up there, I think he goes, you know, just because he's, you know, people have used him as a threat. So I'm not exactly sure, but I think if people have the opportunity to strike at Kelly, I think they might again. So I think she was kind of the target last night for eviction, but obviously, you know, she won the Blockbuster and took herself off.
Speaking of the Blockbuster, you participated in the first Blockbuster of the entire season. Tell us a little bit more about that experience. Do you feel like you did a good job in that comp?
I'm not gonna lie, it was very well explained, the rules to me. There were 3 screens, and I turn around and I knew there were supposed to be 4 words, and I'm seeing 2 words. And I'm like, where are the other 2 words? I'm staring at that back screen, like, where are the words? And then as soon as Kelly gets it and I hear the buzzer, I turn around and I see 2 more giant screens on the other walls. And I was so confused the entire competition. It was a short competition. And I realized, wow, like, I consider myself a pretty smart person, but I felt super dumb in that moment, realizing that there were 2 ginormous screens on the walls that I just didn't see. And I was missing 2 of the words, and that's why I was so confused.
You're not the first one to go into a comp thinking it would be easy and realizing it's a little bit harder than you expect it to be. So don't be so hard on yourself.
I think it happens to everybody, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Zae, it's been so awesome talking to you. Thank you for the time. Welcome to the Big Brother family. Would you play again?
If they wanted me to, 100%. I'll drop whatever I'm doing to come play again. That would be a dream come true. Hopefully, you know, if I don't get evicted first, if I ever did play again, I think I would, you know, try and keep myself at the block week 1. But yeah, I would love to play again. Big Brother was an amazing experience, and it was everything. It was more than I ever imagined.